was real fun, real fast. Let's use that term.
Yeah, and on the topic of, I guess, sparks, right? We have this whole draft that is shaken out. It looks like we're having Mako Kai's Rasmus for the side of coDEX. Estelle, I believe, likely picked away from Zenith, which is one of his big comfort picks, and that's also why they had to flex this Kai away from Dragon to Zenith, because Dragon is also known for the Kai, and lo and behold, Andy gets his signature Luna. It looks like the Juno was what was banned against Fricken Esports.
Yeah, this one's going to be very fast off of rip. Just like taking a look at it, we see a good number of sparks of agility out here. Kai, of course, Rasmus, of course, Stell, of course, and you got the twin drives on who you'd expect as well. So let's kick this off. Initial volley goes to Fricken Esports, but it is already rough for them. Already getting one barrier taken. They are already trying to make a quick defense, transition to a quick offense, which they do. Cero's already looking a little bit down, been getting deep into it, and that cost him a little bit. Barrier goes in. Andy goes out. Core goes in. First goal already. Wow.
An unfortunate series of events for Fricken Esports, right? As they find
Yeah.
that offense from the Twin Drive Luna, but then it just gets that sad boys angle right at the start of the game. I think that was two of them that we saw, one from each side. And then after the kill, such great striking out by Eddicam and Zenith as well. And now we see Fricken Esports looking for a play. Andy is erased off the map, and now in a 2v3, this is not looking good for Fricken Esports.
No, and with that kind of like core control, that ability to transition like for coDEX that quickly from defense to offense, just because of like the speed that they have available to them through Zenith and through Dragon, means that it's proving kind of hard for Fricken Esports to actually be able to keep the core on the opposite side of the field. And you can already see this going out as they try and anything to push it. Andy threw out a crater maker just to try and get some space, but that didn't last very long. And they're trying to find some way, any way at all, to break free of this. Flip goes out, but immediately countered with a flip of their own. They do manage to get the barrier. Andy boost out, trying to make a play. Still no dice. Zenith and Eddicam very, very, very forward, very aggressive. Second barrier goes out for Fricken Esports. Eddicam with a very nice pull, but no dice. They are trying to push for that goal. They want this goal to end real fast.
Yeah, and the bull rush backwards makes it not that great for Fricken Esports, but now Fricken Esports has this opportunity to flip melee range right around the barrage. That's exactly what you're supposed to do against the Kai who's barraging. Well played out by Fricken Esports.
Yeah, right now it is even, and both of these teams are already you can already kind of see what the game plan is going for, with Fricken Esports just trying to kind of get an aggressive attacking comp going. Meanwhile, you've got coDEX basically passing the core as best they can, and they get rewarded for it very fast. Both sides open. Zenith trying to make a play, trying to find Eddicam, who's already looking very low. But Eddicam with the hero, he says, health is a resource. I still have a little bit left. Clears out Andy, and once again just clears out the gold. The puck goes in. I gotta say, it's looking very hard for Andy to even play the game. That seems to be kind of like the goal here for coDEX. Just do not let the goalie play.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really just Andy, because if we take a look at these comps for just a second, you'll see Estelle, X, Luna, all characters that kind of struggle to deal with the speed, the fast-moving cores and stuff, which we haven't really seen much yet, but the speed is something that we see from the side of coDEX. Mako, Kai, Rasmus, all really fast characters, and especially when your Mako also has Twin Drive, it's just kind of a speed dynasty for coDEX, and Eddicam is rewarded likely with something like the Big Fish or Built-If, or maybe just opts for the Chrono Boost for even more speed.
Yeah, we are about to see here. Just goes for the big fish, more size, more stagger. Rasmus loves that. Makes sense. X does get the build different though. You can't really contest that in this kind of situation. Extra special for Kai though. Glass cannon for Luna. Kind of scary there.
Yeah, the thing is the Chrono Boost not being picked up for Kai is a little interesting, but it's an extra special deny, right? Don't want to give that to Andy, who is known for being very good at his offensive plays and his KO attempts. Now, that does mean that this Chrono Boost does end up falling to Dragon, and that's even more speed the Mako will offer, but the speed may not matter if Eddie Cam is down. That's one barrier, perhaps a second to fall soon.
Yeah, right now, Cero trying to impose their will. Andy providing fire support from the backline. They do manage to get the core out, do coDEX. So Eddicam trying to make something happen. Gets one barrier. Zenith moving up as well. Black Hole pops them. And so much for that 2-on play, but a weird boost goes out. Well, not really a weird boost, but it does miss, and that does allow Eddicam to get the second one. And Cero just completely wrecks Dragon. So that is a goalie out. They are trying to keep that away from the goal. No dice. Another kill, another flip, another goal, and that is Fricken Esports with the lead.
Cero, I may feel like that flip is a little unnecessary, but hey, it gets the job done, right? And now we'll see if that does come back to bite Fricken Esports, as that is one less flip they have on this offense. Andy looking to boost in to make any sort of play. They do lose that one barrier and try to answer back for it. It's some really good passes I am seeing out of Fricken Esports, and that's really what, combined with the KOs, is what's taking them through this first point. But it's not looking good, as now Andy is faced with an open net situation as a Luna without a flip.
Yeah, with the passing game that coDEX has shown, you know that we've seen that they can get it past him, but that's not going to matter if Cero is just continually imposing their will. Got both of those barriers down, very quick order. Eddicam trying to make a hero play, snatch it for Cero, but no dice. Cero moving in and with Fricken Chris on the side. They have basically all the momentum in the world. Another flip. I don't think that one flip is extraneous flip is gonna worry him too much.
I mean, hey, he already has flip almost back up, but on the other side, the energy is looking pretty good for coDEX, but they still have 2 goals worth to make it through, and that's one barrier already taken. A second maybe falling if they can keep this core in the corner, but it's not looking to be that way, as Chris takes so much damage and is absolutely assassinated thanks to that black hole and barrage.
Yeah, Andy coming in to try and make it like a quick united front, but no dice. Eddicam trying to do their best to just trying to take control of the core very decisively, but it's hard to keep control of it. Cero still in the front, just kind of menacing around the midfield. Andy with a very nice boost, trying to push it back up. It does get taken back though. Zenith and Eddicam moving up together, trying to make something happen, get this second barrier down, but no dice. Cero with just a nice shot between Dragon and Zenith. Can't get to it, and they just get another, and they just get the set. Real nice, 3 out.
Yeah, Cero rewarded for it, perhaps opting for something like the Stagger Swagger or the Stacks. Or just grabbing the Rezo, right? That's second spark, and if I recall correctly, no other sparks have shown up. So he is in prime position to scale, because even if Fricken Esports loses another set, they still have one more set of leeway. But on the opposite side, a Stagger Swagger picked up onto Eddicam is pretty bad with how the damage has been kind of getting dumped onto coDEX. And while a Missile Prop is picked up and the Among Titans goes for Chris, there is a lot more speed now on the opposite side.
Yeah, I think this could be a turning point, and we are about to find out. Early Giga Blast by Zenith, but no avail. First barrier goes down. Crater Maker goes out. Second barrier goes down. Cero and Chris trying to make something happen in this point real fast, but Zenith, Eddicam do manage to get it out of their backfield, but only for a few moments. Never mind, Eddicam actually manages. Eddicam's been doing a very good job with controlling this core, trying to make something happen with it. Gets both barriers down, but loses the core. Cero picks it up, and Andy comes in for the guarantee.
Yeah, one thing I really like about what Eddicam has been doing is he's been so consistent with a lot of these strikes, and that's also what ended up pushing him to, I believe, one of those wins in a recent ACU or TPT alongside members of Rose Petals, which, considering the competition that was in that tourney, it was a little more unexpected, and I hope to see more of these great strikes out by Eddicam.
Well, looking to do that right now, just as he gets the core again, gets one barrier down, second one missed by inches. Cero manages to take the core, tries to push up, no dice, not quite. Chris coming in to try and support, does manage to get a little bit of an offense going, gets Edicam down low, sniped by Andy, destroyed. Eddie destroyed him, and now it is a very scary power play. But Zenith doing their best to try and keep the core away from that second barrier. And Dragon with the flip just barely manages to do so. Power play is over. Edicam trying to take over again. Zenith with the support, trying to fight their way between Cero and Andy. This is very intense, very back and forth. They do manage to get that second barrier, but also they get coDEX's own barrier, and now it is open goals on both sides. Edicam moves to Zenith, flips by Chris, gets it out of there. Crater Maker from downtown kills what was that? Zenith? Yes, Zenith is down, and now power play for Fricken Esports. Fricken Chris trying to put this one away. No dice. Core going around the world, left, right, up, and down. Zenith manages to intercept a clear, puts it right back in, and he can't get to it. Tied up.
Yeah, I think that's really like the problem with Estelle that we see in this sort of position. As I mentioned earlier, struggles with the speed, struggles with the core speed. You could kind of see that the only times Chris would ever get anything there was when he was just coincidentally in the right position, because the core was rotating so fast that Edicam and Zenith got to really do with it whatever they wanted on the offense.
Yeah, and Edicam trying to do a little bit more with it, trying to get the second barrier down, but Flip prevents that. Gets it up to 0 for a few moments, but still no dice. Core's being traded around the field a little bit, back and forth here. Meanwhile, Edicam and Fricken Chris trying to duel a little bit. Zenith trying to get him off the boy. Still no dice. Zenith and Dragon desperately trying to get this thing away from Zero, who has been imposing their will all day long. Right now, core flying around, very scary sad boys near angle, and no dice still for Fricken Esports. Zero with the bell ringer. That is a power play for Fricken Esports. They are trying to make the most of it. Second barrier goes down, flip by Chris, boom, splits the difference. 2-1.
Yeah, very well played by Fricken Esports, finding a lot of these angles between them. Honestly, really great look there by Sarah, right? Recognize that Edicam is more willing to just hold that flip and wait for some sort of offensive play, especially in that 1-1 even position to kind of take that lead. And seeing, yeah, I'm an X, I can do the, I can kind of kill there, and then looks for the play.
Yeah, and definitely been trying to do that recently. Tried to look for the kill there to Cero and Edicam, but Edicam manages to escape for now. Zenith not looking quite so lucky, very low on health. Fricken Chris has the puck, moves it up, Cero's trying to clear the way for that second barrier. They do get it. Crater Maker comes out, forces the tax from Zenith and Dragon. No flips for you. Gets it down to Cero, knocks it in. Dragon can't get to it. That is another set in the books for Fricken Esports.
Yeah, I'm really liking a lot of these angles by Chris, right? Finding these passes to Cero, finding the shots themselves sometimes, and Andy maybe getting a Deadeye to his name, and that's a little dangerous, though the Kai will still get something like this prime time, or just a spark of focus to deny it, make sure that Cero doesn't get it later on, and yeah, that's what it is. Rapid fire go over to Stell, perfect form, denied away from X. Probably a recovery drone pickup here for Cero, most likely. And Rasmus isn't left with particularly much. Yeah, just the aerials for speed.
Sure. Which, you know, fair enough. I'm always a big fan of Luna, so I immediately want to declare, oh, they got Deadeye Luna. It's game over. It's not, though. But it was a very, very good draft for Fricken Esports, in my opinion. So we are seeing how they make the use of that, and they make very quick use of that. Edicam barely hanging on, but Zenith was not. Rocket to the face, and goodbye. So now we have a power play. Fricken Esports, very, very dangerous already. Andy with the second one. This is already starting to get out of hand very fast. Passing up, making sure they get that second barrier, but no Sad Boys angle. Too bad.
Yeah, we know Andy is a little bit of that KO savant, and wow, another Sad Boys there. But as I was saying, right, Andy being a KO savant, this Luna build is a little disturbing. Deadeye, Missile Pop, Last Cannon, Twin Drive. He can offer so much reinforcement whenever he wants. And that primer already sending it at red core, that secondary red core as well. It's not just KO, right? It's also core control, as the red core is something it's pretty just difficult to react to in general.
Yeah, very scary Luna, but you saw they could overcome that with the right amount of luck, and aiming. Thank you, Edicam. So right now we are in the next round, and it is Cero trying to cause something bad to happen to Zenith. Nearly does damage. But like you said, also core and core control. Barrier goes down. Now coDEX having to try and keep this up, try and tie it up in terms of barriers at the very least. But it's been a very scary time for them since that last draft. Cero gets the second barrier, and now it is open goal on coDEX. Edicam trying to even that up as well, but gets loose. Crater Maker goes out. Very nice flip by Dragon to prevent any shenanigans from happening. And they do get that second barrier. Open goals on both sides now. And it is Cero trying to punch through both of them. And punch he does.
Yeah, I mean, one of the characteristics of Cero that helped Power of Friendship do pretty well was the strike war capabilities, and we saw it there, right? Getting that strike to the top side, recognizing, okay, where is Dragon even going to clear this? If he goes bottom, I can handle it. If he goes top, Chris can reinforce, and, well, the bottom clear is opted for, and Cero times it really well, winning that strike war against Zenith, and once again, the double barrier already taken by Fricken Esports.
Yeah, and right now, Edicam desperately trying to get something going. They do! Gets the second barrier, flips in their face, punches it through, and coDEX not out of this yet. 2-1, it is set point for coDEX.
Yeah, coDEX reading Fricken Esports like a book. And well played by them with that flip, but looking at the energy, Edicam is probably the next up on the chopping block for Fricken Esports. The recovery drone actually popped for Cero, so doesn't have that for later, but I don't think really kills are much of a threat for the side of Fricken Esports. They're looking to get some of their own, but no damage actually dropped on the members of coDEX just yet.
Nope, this one was a little bit dry for the first part, but that Crater Maker sure did a whole lot of damage. Another rocket coming out from Andy as well, and the black hole finishes it off, and goodbye for a little bit Zenith, as Cero trying to take advantage. Edicam quickly intercepts, but a flip stops that offensive push. Power play over. Cero still has the core, trying to bully it again past Zenith and Dragon. Show off those strike skills, but puck up to Edicam, does get one barrier, ties that up. Cero stops that real fast. And now it is open goal on coDEX. Freaking Chris with a very nice Crystal Thorns. And make sure that goes in. Cero backing it up. They said, no, we want to end this one. Tied up 2-2.
Hey, very crucially for Fricken Esports, none of the members on coDEX died there, which means the energy for the back half of coDEX is looking very, very dry. And that slightly awkward flip in the ensnare jumps means it is a bit of a waste. But there's still lots of damage coming on. That X Maximus coming onto Dragon. First barrier taken. Standing in the corner, Fricken Chris grabs the second one, and we are on game point here. Fricken Esports could send coDEX to the lower bracket. Double barrier answered back, and now in an open net on both sides. Zenith falls. Strike wars need to be won by Edicam if he wants to keep this alive. The core stays forward. Edicam and Cero both nearing their own flips. Edicam keeping the core alive for now, and there's that ensnare drums. It's gone. Awkward angle. Cero flips it, melee, and finds the strike, and that's Fricken Esports taking the first game.
Beautiful. Started off a little bit slow for Fricken Esports, but they got up to speed very quickly, and they figured things out. Just started wrecking shop. A lot of damage started coming out, and coDEX having some difficulties in dealing with it.
Yeah, and I mean, not only the first game, but the first series, right? As they do qualify to, I believe this is winners round 3, right? Yeah. And that win will put them against the win of Cyberswipe versus whoever wins between Soup and Cutie Patootie. So they will be waiting for at least a little bit. Meanwhile, coDEX does fall to the lower bracket where they do face off against Roll Swap. So we'll have to see how things shake up for both of those teams. But hey, well, what are your thoughts on the game as a whole?
Honestly, I thought it was a very impressive showing from Fricken Esports. Like I said, started off a little bit slow, but then Fricken Chris started getting some good angles. Cero started properly bullying, and Andy just decided, well, more like, less decided, more remembered, oh yeah, I'm Luna. I am a living artillery cannon. And just shots, shots, shots. Very nice play from all three of them. Not to take anything away, honestly, though, from coDEX. I thought Idicam made some very good plays, very good core control on their end. Zenith, very nice aggression, interception in play, and just it was a solid effort. But I just feel like freaking esports had the more like together game plan at the end of the day.
Hey, well, that is our first match of the day. We do have quite a lot of matches as no one is unfamiliar with how long Launchpad always ends up being. But before we get to our next match, we will send it over to a short break. Don't go anywhere.